Got me some new velvet today.
Huh?
New velvet.
Ooh, new velvet.
Let's see if Cliff knows what I'm talking about when I say.
You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Cliff, I got me some new velvet in the mail today.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
The company that I bought this table from has done a couple Kickstarters since then, but they were part of their latest one. They were selling some more covers, and there was one color that I didn't have, and I
Gold.
snatched. I didn't. I have like a maroon, blue, green, gray, and then I bought like a purple yoga mat, made one of my own, and but now they make black. I was like, oh, black, that sounds universal.
Black velvet.
Yeah, exactly. I was hoping. Boom, he went right there. Got it. So anyway, I slapped it on there. Got it in the mail today. It fits perfect like a glove. Nice. And hope they make some more colors. This is one of my best purchases I ever made. Nobody gets more. It was the price of these tables are so friggin' expensive. Not this one, but to get a gaming table, they're so friggin' expensive. And when this guy first made this version, he's like, I'm going to make this first one affordable. I want people to be able to get one. I was like, I was out. If you went out shopping for tables, and regular tables cost, comparable price. So I was like, why would I not get this? So
now are those mats? Are they just like one big roll?
Yeah, they're double-sided. I like the like red and blue is one, and gray and green.
I didn't know if they were like segmented to where like you could have
roll
like
it
blue and red, or whatever, like split them up, or if it was just one big roll.
What are you saying? What's your other option other than it being one big roll?
Like they would just be like smaller sections that you could lay. They would just lay beside each other.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Nope. Sections like what? There's a section that's 5 feet by 3 feet, and you could roll it up. One side of it is green, and one side of it is gray.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. If it was like they have like dining room table. They'll have what they used to have what they would call a pad, and the pad would go between the tabletop to protect it and your tablecloth. My parents used to have that. Well, they still have that on their dining room table from 30 years ago.
Oh.
But it's instead of being just one solid thing or rolled up, it's like three that lay.
Oh no, it's one roll, one continuous thing, and then there's something else I was going to say about it. I can't remember. But this new one I got. It's a little nicer quality than the old ones. Like I may have to replace. Well, these guys spill stuff every once in a while, and
you know how paranoid I was about spilling stuff whenever we were.
Well, it's not like it's priceless stuff. Like it is replaceable pads. Like I can buy more from these people someday. But the new one's pretty nice. He said it wasn't going to fit. He said some people had complained it didn't fit this table. Because it actually, after he made the affordable one, then he came out with a nicer one, and a lot of people bought it. And so it's actually designed for mine fits perfect. But some of them you can just take them if it's too big, you throw it in the dryer, it shrinks it down to however long you leave it in there is how much it's going to shrink. That's how I got mine to fit.
It becomes a placemat.
That's right.
World's largest mouse pad.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's Ka-Pow, the Pop Culture Podcast. My name's Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Let's get back to our roots.
Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots.
Keep going.
I could, but I won't. Hey, we're going to do a segment most of you probably have never heard, but it's a recurring segment. How's that possible, Cliff? I'll tell you, because it was Patreon content.
I'm glad you asked that, Jordan.
Yeah.
Well,
so many callbacks.
This is definitely Patreon content because it's not professional.
This is
what
you get.
If you join our Patreon, we put out not only early access, you can watch the videos of some of these Zoom calls as we record, but occasionally we do special episodes. We get either cutting room floor of some of the audio of us just casually chatting it up, or sometimes we even do segments that we don't do on the regular show. Only patrons get. But we're going to give you a free taste.
You are fake noodles.
This is your taste. The first one's free. We're going to give you a taste of fake noodles.
They're getting a serving of hot, piping hot, fake noodles.
Fake noodles.
For free? Free fake noodles? I'm excited.
Right. So
I've been waiting for play. Oh, man.
It's been a while.
Here we go. Cliff v. Seth in a game of fake noodles.
Oh.
Began life as a segment we call fake news.
Yeah.
But then we realized that we had a recurring theme about noodles.
Yeah.
So it became fake noodles, which is a way better title. So there you go. So this is us deciding whether a title that I read is real or fake. And these are all titles of Japanese manga. All right.
That I assume you run across as you are ordering comics or something.
Just yesterday, my order was due. I was going through the catalog. I saw a few doozies. I thought, I think it's time for some fake noodles. So,
oh, man.
Whether it's the translation is bizarre from Japanese into English, or the concept might be bizarre, they have some very interesting titles, and we are not familiar with most of these. So it is your job to decide whether they are real or fake.
Cliff, I'm going to crush you.
I think I won last time.
Oh, well.
It's all about how familiar...
Hold on to it for a few more moments.
It's all about how familiar you are with what Jordan had for lunch last week.
Sayonara football. All right. Here we go. Number one. Real or fake title of a Japanese manga.
Ready.
Crazy Food Truck.
How we do this?
Not too out there, right? Not too
crazy food truck.
Crazy. Crazy Food Truck.
I'll start us off because I feel like this could be a trick, but we all know.
This feels like
we all know that Jordan has a food truck moving in to the space next door to him.
Yeah.
And we just talked about this food truck a couple weeks ago. So
But they don't serve noodles, they serve tacos.
That's true.
That's crazy.
Fake noodles, true tacos.
I'm gonna say it's almost too good. I'll say fake.
A little
noodles.
on the nose. It's a little on the nose.
It's a little on the nose. I feel like I've been had.
I'm going fake noodles. Fake noodles.
That one's real.
Oh! Right in the heart.
Jeez.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles meets Mad Max in a post-apocalyptic road trip taken by a grumpy food truck chef and a bizarre young lady with a mysterious past.
Aren't they all?
Alrighty, no points yet on the board. Number 2. The 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you.
This better not be one of these things where it's only 3 realies.
No, if you're counting, that's
And-
5 realies.
5 realies. Say it again.
The 100 girlfriends who really, 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 really love you.
I feel like it's too long, but
That's what she said. I feel like I should have to make the decision first.
Yeah, you go first on this one, Seth.
I'm just trying to imagine you coming up with that. That's no sign of football. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm gonna say it's real noodles, actual noodles.
oof. I'll go fake noodles.
That one is real.
Daggone.
After a young man asks out 100 girls and gets 100 rejections, a god appears to set things right by introducing him to 100 girls who are all his soulmate. But if he doesn't return their feelings, they'll die in horrible and hilarious accidents.
Horrible and hilarious.
Okay, number 3. Reluctant pupil of the smelliest sensei.
Go ahead, Cliff. What do you got to say?
Jeez.
Reluctant pupil of the smelliest
No
sensei.
goddamn way. That is real. Are you? Oh,
Fake
I don't.
noodles.
I don't.
This is the
I
third
cannot
one.
say that that's real. I refuse to say that is fake noodles.
You're both going fake. That one's fake. You got it.
Thank God. I don't know what I'd have done if I'd have lived thinking all week
Yeah.
that was real.
Okay, number 4. So I'm a spider. So what?
You're really
So
walking
I'm
the
a-
line.
So I'm a spider. So what? This one is Seth's got to go first.
I say it's fake noodles.
Seth says fake.
I say it's fake too because the English is too correct.
There's even a comma in there and a question mark at the end. So I'm a spider, comma. So what?
We said fake.
Both said fake. Or you're both wrong. That's real. A high school girl struggles for survival after being reincarnated as a dungeon spider. 2-1 currently. Seth's ahead.
Wow.
Number 5. Fittingly, number 5, the world's 5th best exorcist.
World's 5th best exorcist.
The world's 5th best exorcist.
I'll say that's real.
Real?
I'm going fake noodles.
That one is fake.
Dang. I am not doing well.
Oh,
All right,
my
that's the halfway
gosh.
point. You can still catch
Was
it.
there one like you were inspired by? Like it was the world's 3rd best exorcist.
No.
Where did this come from?
I'll flip through and there'll be like smelly sensei. There'll be like my sensei the cat or whatever. I'll be like, sensei. I'll pick a word and I'll build off that.
Okay.
If you want to know the secrets.
Yeah, that's what
behind
I do. I want to know how this whole
it. Yeah, I'm sure
contraption you
something
call
was
brain works.
something was exorcist, so I made something different.
Okay,
All right, number 6.
he's a writer. Come on.
Number 6. There's a magical girl in my closet, and she's wearing my lucky hat.
Now I can think is which was the word he latched on.
Yeah.
Was it magical closet, weird hat. Did he look in the closet? What what made him come up with this?
There's a magical girl in my closet, and she's wearing my lucky hat.
Did he wake up and think, I just had a dream about a magical girl in my closet wearing my lucky hat?
Or did he?
I gotta write that down for fake
Too
noodles.
much thought into this.
Did he
Whose
watch
turn is it?
You're set.
something?
Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah.
I guess it's real. It's real noodles.
Real noodles.
Magical girl with a lucky hat.
I know you're all trying to picture like the cover, what the cover.
Yeah.
I just don't even know what is happening.
I'll say it's real.
You both say real?
Mm-hmm.
That one's fake.
You're never gonna win that way, Cliff.
All I could think of, Jordan has watched some show about a girl, and she has a lucky hat, and he ran with it.
No, magical girl. That's like a whole genre, like Sailor Moon, like any magical girl. So like that, magical.
We're
Okay,
learning
number 7.
How many are there?
10.
Okay. You better start picking something different than me.
No matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular.
No matter how I look at it, it's you guys.
It's you guys' fault.
You guys.
No matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular.
I will say that is real.
Real.
Oh, I if I want to win, I'm going real also.
You gotta go with your gut. Don't go with the game. Go with your gut. That one is real. Sure, she'll become popular as she begins high school. A socially awkward loner's dreams turn to shambles. She's blaming other guys' fault. Alrighty, number 8. I don't know how to give birth.
I still think these are all just things you wake up in the middle of the night and jot down.
Number 8. I don't know how to give birth.
I can't hear you for something. Okay. Say something, Jordan.
I don't know how to give birth.
Oh.
Whose turn is it?
It's mine. I gotta do this.
That's the even numbers, Cliff's.
Okay.
It's my last. Fake noodles.
Fake.
You have to go real noodles, Cliff.
Yeah. All right, fine. Real.
Real. That one is real.
See, there you go.
A humorous and heartfelt autobiographical comic about the challenges of motherhood.
Humorous and horrible.
All right, number 9. Every realm has toilet trouble.
It's your turn to go first.
I will say that is fake.
That was too fast.
Yeah, I'm not just strategy. I'm also going to say fake.
Every realm has toilet trouble.
Fake noodles.
Fake.
Fake noodles. Correct.
I mean, I feel like it's going to be real, but it's so fits as a fake. We have to say it.
I was proud of that one. I thought maybe I'd flee on that.
No, because we know what realm you're talking about.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Okay, number 10, final fake noodle. Please put them on, Takamine-san.
Just the thought of you making that up made me burst into. It's not the title. It's just imagining you waking up in the middle. Oh my gosh.
I have a boundless imagination.
Please put them on. If you made this up, I am just gonna.
It sounds like Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, it's like, oh my
Please
gosh.
put them on, Takamine-san.
I will not wear them in a box. I will not wear them with a box.
Oh my gosh. I am gonna say I can't believe I win either way. As far I win three ways. I win either way, no matter what happens. I win if I say that it's real, and I win if I say it's real and it isn't. So I'm saying it's real news.
Yeah, that's too good.
Oh, burn.
Well, not in an insulting way, but it just sounds like it just rolls off the
It
tongue.
should be real.
Like it should be a thing.
That one's real. That makes 6-5. Cliff had a big comeback at the end, couldn't quite overtake it. I had to add that one because I think Seth needs to add it to his list of time travel reads.
Oh, okay.
All right, so write that down, please. Please put them on. Please add it to your list.
Please spell Takamine-san.
A girl is able to rewind time and undo her past actions, but only when she removes her underwear, which then disappears.
Scratches of that.
When a
I actually wrote that down. You want me to buy this?
When a classmate learns her secret, she forces him to be her closet and replace her panties with new ones whenever she uses her power. So, time travel fiction, you gotta write that down.
This week on Euphoria.
Yeah, I'm not. She wears somebody else's lucky hat.
Right.
There's a lot of closet in there.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's a round of fake noodles for you.
I really thought one was going to pop up there that I didn't know I was studying, but before you let us know we were playing fake noodles, I was watching like the collected editions coming out for the next month, and at one point he got to the like manga section and started naming a bunch of titles. None of these were I don't recognize any of these, but one of them was just like really on the nose. It was just like, I can't remember the title. It was basically like dicks everywhere, and it just had two guys on the front. And it was just like tons of dicks or something. It was just not even hiding what it was about at all. And I was like, he's going to say that. Well, that was exciting.
Always.
So tell me that's not worth $1.
Oh, man.
You are fake noodles.
So comics.
Yeah, let's keep the comic train rolling.
How can you read this? There's no pictures.
Well, some people use their imagination.
Well, I must hurry back to my comic book store where I dispense the insults rather than absorb them.
It happens all the time. Read a comic book, okay?
We haven't talked about comics for a while.
No, I feel like I haven't updated anyone the industry in quite a bit.
Yeah. Let's really sink our teeth in here.
So I think last time we talked about it, I had like just switched to Penguin as a distributor. So I don't even know. I can't even remember the trials and tribulations I've gone through. I've blocked all that out. But like every industry, there are paper shortages right now, supply chain problems. It's really hard to get supplies like bags and boards. A lot of places aren't printing stuff in a timely manner. Image has said they're not doing any second printings right now. So if you run out of the first printing, that's all you're getting.
Wow.
So yeah, it's definitely impacted the comic world. So to try to fix that, Marvel moved their cutoff times, where it's called the FOC, Final Order Cutoff. You used to have
inside lingo.
Yes, you used to have 3 weeks before something shipped, you could change your quantities. So something would come out the first Wednesday of the month. Then the next week you could adjust the numbers. You could see how well it sold, adjust the numbers, and then 3 weeks later you get the second issue. Well, they've had to push it back to 4 weeks now. So I'm now placing orders. I'm placing 2 orders for things before I have any data. So that helps the supply chain and gets things moving, but it hurts sort of where
how many comics
your inventory. Yeah. So when Penguin first came out, we were having all kind of shipping issues. I was having website issues. I couldn't get on the website, and they were acting like it was my fault. And then one day it just magically started working on the computer that it wouldn't work on. So I don't know whose fault it really was, but those first few shipments from Penguin just came in a box with very little protection, and people were getting huge damages on their stuff. And then they came out and said, well, I mean, you can't expect things to be mint condition, right? And that was like the wrong thing to say, especially as Marvel, all these variants they make, and it's a 1 for 100 variant. Yeah, like you're leaning into the collectability. Yeah, you're not acting like these are just people will buy these no matter what. So you can't go out of both hands. One saying they're not collectibles, and one saying buy this rare variant.
Right.
But they got it figured out pretty well. They started packing the smaller boxes inside of a bigger box wrapped in bubble wrap. So I haven't had as many problems. Excuse me. The some of the ones in the inner box look like they're just kind of tossed in there, like they're not like. I think it's the packing, not the shipping, that is the problem on some of them. So I'm still getting dings and creases and stuff, but not like it was at that beginning. So it's getting better. I haven't had any real problems. The invoicing is a mess. They ship graphic novels from one warehouse and comics from a different warehouse, and then if you reorder anything, that comes in a separate shipping. So they will ship. I want to order 2 extra comics and 2 extra trade paperbacks. Then that week I'll get 4 shipments of boxes.
That's a lot of shipping cost.
Well, I'm not. They pay the shipping. Though.
Okay.
That's the Penguin is the only people in the industry. So it shouldn't matter. But then each of those has a separate invoice. So when I do my paperwork at the end of the week, I got to reconcile 4 different pieces of paper, 4 different totals, 4 different bills. So that's been a mess. But I don't know. It's been weird. All 3 distributors have different ways of doing that stuff. I got to write a check and mail it to the one. I got to write a COD check and hand it to UPS for another. And the third one I can pay via their website. So it's just still needlessly complicated. But IDW has announced they are moving to Penguin in June of this year. So Penguin will have Marvel and IDW, which is probably 4th or 5th the biggest in the industry. So that's another domino going to fall that direction. When all this blew up, Diamond announced that they had acquired CGA, the Collectible Grading Authority, which is action figure and video game grading company. So you mail in a mint condition video game or an action figure and you get graded and slabbed. And the Diamond CEO said, "This acquisition further supports our mission to be the leading source for pop culture products and services worldwide. It's also a testament to the strength and stability of our industry and the faith J.P. Morgan Chase has in our company and the markets they serve." So it was basically like, look, we're fine. We're going to spend a bunch of money and we wouldn't be expanding if things were dire and terrible, right? So it was just it was a big swing of just trying to prove how fine and normal everything is.
As they sat with their cup of coffee in the burning room.
This is fine. So that's the inside industry stuff. Saddest news, we heard about George Perez, legendary artist, diagnosed with inoperable stage 3 pancreatic cancer. So this was a while back. He wrote a lengthy thing saying he was given 6 months to a year to live. He was going to do one last mass signing for the fans, and he was going to try to make everybody happy. Anyone who wanted to meet him or get something signed could do this one last event before he retired and focused solely on his health. But so this is the guy co-created the new Teen Titans, drew Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinity Gauntlet, the Avengers. So yeah, has literally drawn every character Marvel and DC own. And they just announced coming up in a couple of weeks they're finally going to do a reprint of JLA Avengers, the crossover, the 4-issue crossover from the 90s, late 90s, that has been out of print for more than a decade. And as soon as this news came out, there was hashtags and people pushing, please, Marvel, DC, reprint this, whether it's a charity thing, to help his medical costs or just to show that you appreciate this man. Don't let this people want to read this book and you've let it sit unprinted for decades. So the Hero Initiative jumped in and they're doing a special printing limited to 7,000 copies. So I put an order in. I don't know how many of those I'll get. It'll be allocated to some degree. I'm sure I won't get all the ones I ordered, but
Do you think it's just so they can say, so he can see it sell out or something? Like that's such a small.
That's what I was hoping, that this was the biggest order of the week. Obviously, like maybe it would ring some bells at these companies. Like, oh, there is demand for this. Maybe we should reorder. But yeah, my wholesale cost was higher than normal, so there is a chunk of it going to charity. Yeah, the Hero Initiative is the charity that helps older retired with either health problems or
they don't have
there's no insurance in the comic industry.
No. So. Right. Yeah, they have no sort of retirement plan with that. So yeah, that's what I loved. Loved going to HeroCon or whatever. And that's how you pay for your autographs. You're paying into I think it's the Heroes Initiative, and you're paying into that. Just like you don't feel bad buying an autograph when it's going to that charity, and they all love to support it. So that's great. They did announce a couple days ago. Also, Marvel is releasing this year. They're finally reprinting, at least so far. And I'm sure they'll probably announce the second volume also, but they announced the first volume of the Busiek Perez run of Omnibus. Nice. So people have been wondering if they were ever going to reprint that. It goes for big money. So that's coming out, and I'm sure this instigated it being announced.
I don't know how anything he's drawn could go out of print for any amount of time.
It doesn't make any sense, but it's crazy. It's like people don't like money. So that's pretty neat, and it's too bad it's under such sad circumstances. I think they got pretty bad. Is he even doing this thing where he was going to sign a bunch of stuff? It sounded like his health took a dive recently.
I haven't heard any updates on that, so I'm not sure. It might not be looking so good.
I was going to tell you, as far as when we talked recently about slating plans out for the year, if depending on what it looks like in June, I'm really kicking around the idea of going to Heroes Con again. Larry Hama is supposed to be there, so keep that in the back of your mind there.
I will track you down someday, Larry. It's been a long time coming.
Speaking of Larry, I picked up a couple G.I. Joe Omnis. They're called the G.I. Joe Complete Collection. IDW printed a few years ago. I think there's 8 volumes. It only goes up through into the 70s or 80s of the original series, but trying to slowly.
Those are all out of print.
Oh yeah, long out of print. There was a couple different versions of it, but long out of print. And I saw the first one I got for a reasonable price, so I thought, and then I was able to grab the 5th, 6th, and 7th pretty cheap. Now I'm just gonna watch I'm not in any hurry, but I'll watch till I can get the other ones for a good price. But I love it. I was like, crack that first one open, and I'm just like, I'm starting at the beginning. Like, I know they're wrapping up. You said you've been ever since they restarted. It ended in '94 at 155, and now they started back up. What year did they restart it?
Oh, that's been
a while ago.
2014. Yeah, it's been a while.
Enough that they're about to end it at 300.
Well, it's officially announced IDW is losing the license, both G.I. Joe and Transformers. So they haven't announced where it's going. A lot of people seem to think it's Image. So hopefully they would take it and reprint all this classic stuff. But the recent catalog has said, like, the road to 300. So he's at least going to get to issue 300.
So that's a whole nother full length of what the original series was. So I was like all hyped, like I'm gonna restart at the beginning, and man, I'm loving it. It's like you're just getting the core characters here at the beginning. Just like each time they introduce a character, you can almost barely tell the difference between them at the beginning. Steeler,
Grunt,
Clutch, Zap, Rock and Roll, they're all just in green.
Yeah.
The only Breaker's blowing bubble gum every issue. Every time you see him, he's got bubble gum. But it's just good stuff. Like Larry Hama was just meticulously explaining what they were doing, why they did this, why they did that, and, covering all the angles, why the enemy did this and stuff. All the strategy here, but it's still comic booky. It's like I just am eating it up with a spoon. I'm like, oh, I love this. Every morning I come home from work. I walk in, I sit down on the couch, and I read one issue, and it's great, and just a great way to end the day. So,
those early ones, they're usually like standalone. It's just kind of one story.
Yeah.
All that, the robot underneath the ground, like under the pit, trying to climb
the Trojan robot. Yeah.
The tank. They're in the parade with the tanks. They don't have any ammo because it's a parade. It's like that. I still have such vivid memories of reading that.
Yeah, you know how they make they scare off Cobra because they don't have any explosives. So Breaker blows a bubble into the microphone and it sounds like an explosion in the park. It's amazing. So I was like, this bubble is going to pay off sometime, and then sure enough, issue 5.
But yeah, the longer it goes, you see definitely, especially on a reread of like Hasbro, okay, we've got these 8 new characters need to be introduced. Make sure they're in this new vehicle. Like every issue introduces a new thing that was on the toy shelf. But he does it in a way that's still just fun and organic and exciting.
Yeah, I'm all about it. I'm enjoying it, but he kind of lowered my hype a little bit when I was like, so I should read the whole series and go up to 300 so just get right in, and you're like,
I don't buy a lot of comics myself anymore, but that one is still on my own personal pull list, so I've been buying it. But it's definitely not what it was back in the day. But there's something there's still a spark to it.
Yeah. I said once I start to get bored, it starts not getting good, or they start introducing way too many characters, I might look up a reading list and see what I actually need to read instead of just reading it all. Also, something else I read in the last couple months was I bought Box Office Poison. Did you ever? Alex Robinson.
Yeah, never read that one.
It's a graphic novel. It's Box Office Poison, and it was reasonably successful, so they came out with more Box Office Poison. So I bought that also. But it was it reminds me, it's like a slice of life thing. It's like kind of like Blankets or Fun Home or something, where they're writing about their lives. And
remember, it was very Gen X, very 90s.
Oh, totally.
Friends hanging out on a couch kind of thing.
Yep, that's exactly what it is. Them living in New York and struggling, and one of them, is trying to draw comics, and one of them's trying to do this, or just works at a bookstore, and it's just like, it's just exactly that. It's not happy. It's like there are struggles and discovering who did this, and everybody hates my girlfriend and all this. But I enjoy that stuff. I like those. I love blankets, and so anything like that where they're just slice of life stuff. Seeing drawing these not meticulously drawn panels, just they're more of a writer than a artist, doing his own book. I enjoy some of that, but it was good. I really liked it. It was box office poison. He also did one of those time travel things. Was what made me notice it. Was what was the name of it?
Keep your pants on, Mrs.
No. Do you not remember? I think it was the Marlboro one or something. It was like
oh yeah, it was the quit smoking one.
Yeah, it was the quit smoking one. I can't remember the name of it, but that was a good one. Oh,
I had a few other headlines.
Yeah.
One of the biggest headlines recently: Mouse.
Oh yeah.
The Pulitzer Prize winning comic by Art Spiegelman was banned by a Tennessee school board.
I read
immediately shot up the bestseller list, sold out at Diamond, top 10 on Amazon. So
I read the entire 15 or 20 page transcript of all of their discussions.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
I mean, ostensibly it was because there was a couple curse words, and there was a naked mouse. They were naked. They're anthropomorphic, but
they complained about nudity. And I like my mice to wear clothes.
I need my Pooh Bear to wear pants.
A story with lots of horrific. It's depicting the Holocaust, so there's a lot of horror in that book that doesn't shy away from. But they found some other reason to ban it, so they say. But made it more high profile than it's been in decades.
Right. Well, they decided it's too much for these. I believe it was for 8th grade. It was part of the curriculum, actually. Like it was on the teacher's list of things of how they were teaching about the Holocaust. And it's, Pulitzer Prize winning is in a part of a lot of curriculum. But what this school is doing is what many other schools have done, including where my child went to school. Instead of using mouse, they will be, I guarantee that school will end up using the boy in the striped pajamas. And that is the go-to because it's the way far more pleasant story told from the Nazis' perspective, which is really not the way to go.
Well, they say you got to have both sides of the argument.
Right. It's just like, do they ever think about that? They have chosen they were uncomfortable with the realism of the story with the mice cats telling this story, but they don't want to. We want to still tell the story, but we don't want the harsh realism. It's like, this is trying to teach them what it was really like, and it's barely scratches the surface with this mouse comic. And so you totally go the other direction because people are uncomfortable with reality. And that's how we get to this banning of critical race theory. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It maddens me to no end that now in this day and age, we are getting censored so much in schools. They're getting away with this now. All these states are banning all of this stuff. They're not going to be able to talk about the reality of what happened in the past. Kids were tried to go to school, were heckled when there was integration, and yet your kids are too precious to even know that happened.
Well, you don't want to see some old black and white photo with grandma throwing a rock at a little girl.
Yeah. It's like, it's so sickening. What else you got?
Stay political.
Somebody's got to talk about it.
Both Tim Drake,
Ooh.
the second Robin, right? And
Yes.
Jonathan Kent.
No, third Robin.
Third Robin.
Come on, man. Jeez.
What am I saying? Oh, yeah, third Robin. And Jonathan Kent, the son of Superman, both came out as bisexual in the past year.
Yep.
So these are both... I mean, Tim Drake's been around since the 90s, he's still technically a young, quote-unquote, character. He's still a young man. And Jonathan Kent was a literal child up till this year, where he got shot into space and rapidly aged, so now he's more of a young adult. But he was literally like 8 years old since he was introduced a couple years ago. So to me, this is what everyone always says. I don't mind if there's gay characters, but make them new characters. Don't turn some character I love gay. Well, okay, here are two characters that are young, just figuring out themselves and their sexuality, and they come out as bisexual. Like, that should solve the problem, right?
No, we don't like that either.
No.
They've been around too long. They don't like that. I mean, it's a perfect balance of that. You got to use characters that'll make a splash in the news because of it, but also, like you said, the timing was right for them. That's interesting. I remember hearing about that, but how well was it handled? Like,
Tim Drake has never been he has lots of fans, but he's never he had a solo series, I think, in the 90s, but they haven't done a lot with him lately. There's so many Robins. And Jonathan Kent said he was like part of the Super Sons. He hung out with Damian. He had his own title for a while, but they've given him his own book. It's called Superman, Son of Kal-El. So Superman is off-world on some other planet. So John Kent is the Superman of Earth right now, and he's got a boyfriend who's a reporter. Like, he's got a blog on the internet, so he's in love with a reporter. It's a modern story. I haven't read Superman in a long time, but I've been reading that book since it started, so it's kept my interest.
Oh, they're just like, well, that was never a thing before. None of my superheroes were gay before. 100% of your superheroes were also right-handed for a long time.
Well, these guys are ambidextrous. Okay. That didn't work. Okay. Jim Lee appeared on Sesame Street.
What?
Anybody know that?
Yeah. Did not. I saw that Roy Kent was on there.
This is how long it's been since we talked comics. This was Thanksgiving Day.
Oh.
They did a special celebrating Asian and Pacific Islander communities, introducing the first ever Asian Muppet, Ji Young.
I do remember
my Muppets were never Asian.
So they had a couple celebrities on there. Naomi Osaka, the athlete. Simu Liu. All right. Shang-Chi was on there. Padma Lakshmi and Jim Lee. So that's pretty cool. It showed he like drew some stuff, for the camera.
Yeah.
So hey, that's nice. And then Grant Morrison has made some news. He has a Substack, like that subscription-based thing you sign up for. He has a newsletter,
blog or whatever
that comes out. Blog, yeah. I believe his pronouns are they or their. I'm sorry, it's not he. We're trying to be current. Yeah. Okay, so they have a Substack newsletter, and he has been. Dang it!
This is good. I like this.
I'm trying to be woke. Grant Morrison has been spilling the tea on him leaving DC and all the stuff that went down with Dan Didio and 5G and that whole mess. So apparently journalists have said they ask you not to cut and paste stuff from Substack because it's a subscription-based thing you're paying for. So I haven't read the whole thing, but I've seen some quotes from it that as John Kent was taking over in this 5G thing, Clark was going to age and take a more authoritarian bent, assembling a new authority team, while Supergirl was pushed to, quote, in increasingly fascistic directions for reasons that made scant sense to me. So this was the idea of like, well, yeah, we're going to make it dark, and he's going to, yeah, it's like, that is, and he was just basically, that's not Superman, that's not Supergirl, that shouldn't even be comics. So he pitched a whole different thing. They still did that Superman and the Authority comic, but it was more him trying to inspire these darker heroes and try to make them more of a force for good. And his whole idea was quote, dragging imaginary childhood paragons off their pedestals to reinforce a fairly facile point about the tendency of real-world heroes to exhibit feet of clay, struck me and strikes me still as imaginatively lazy. And I am 100,000% behind that. Like, I always think these superheroes, they're never realistic.
Right.
Like, the point of superheroes are to be bigger than life and inspirational and bright and colorful and fun, and to, we're going to muddy them up, the Zack Snyder style of, we're going to make them lesser, we're going to make them dark, and, you know, they've got problems, you know. A little of that goes a long way. I'm sure we all, you know, when we're younger, we all want, you know, that edgy stuff. But to me, like, superheroes.
Put this leather jacket on, Super Saw.
So I'm with Grant. I don't always enjoy Grant stories, but this I 100% am like his All-Star Superman. That is a great take on Superman as the inspirational figure. He does not need to be the villain. He doesn't need to be edgy. And DC just over and over does that kind of stuff. So.
That's a good story.
And I think it was just today announced Fortnite crossing over with Marvel this time.
Oh, boy.
In June. Fortnite Marvel Zero War, 5-issue series. And the first printings of all 5 issues will include free download codes for Fortnite.
Oh, here we go again.
So we're back at it. We had a Batman crossover, and now we're going to the Marvel universe. So print money.
They are... Fortnite definitely makes bank.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about that, but yeah. So, Jordan, how many copies did you order of this?
It hasn't come out to order yet. It was just announced today.
Okay.
So I'm sure it's in the next catalog.
7,000.
I will order more than I did of the Batman.
Yeah.
You need to put up a giant sign outside that says
Asylum Comics.
I have Fortnite.
Got the Fortnite. All right, that's all my headlines that I had, unless anybody had any other comics.
Saga came back.
Saga.
I haven't been down there to pick up issue 2 yet, but...
A 3-year hiatus.
Oh, look, I mean, this is one of the greatest series ever. Absolutely in my top 5, and I love it. So glad we're get kicked into that second half of the series. Just like I can't wait. I can't wait to just gobble up every issue. I reread the last, like I have I've got the issues, but I bought the 3 hardbacks, and I reread the last hardback to prepare myself, and it was great. It's always great, and
that was that was my first pandemic read when we locked down. I reread Saga from front to back. So.
Yes, so good. Not for kids, but man, it is a great adult comic.
Get some Taco Bell and read along.
And what I'm excited about, it's as hard as it is to follow in the single issues. Like I love to read it in a collected form because you remember all these characters and things easier from issue to issue. That's one thing about comics is sometimes I don't remember what happened a month ago or 2 months ago since I picked something up. But one pleasure I get from these Saga issues is the letters page. That's the greatest thing about it. It's the best thing going in comics is the Saga letters page, because he only accepts handwritten letters, and I'm looking forward to filling out the questionnaire that should be in the second issue here.
Yeah, that's in this current issue. It's the tell me about yourself issue.
Yeah,
and there's an extra prize if you rip out the page of the actual comic. You're entered for a prize. He wants you to actually write.
He wants you to read
page.
these and tear them up and do things and he kept the price down. You can afford to do it, so love Saga. Add it to your list.
I'm also loving this current Human Target series DC is doing under Black Label.
I love the art in that book.
This is Tom King, the writer, and Greg Smallwood, the artist. Yeah, it's just, it's not painted, but it's, I don't know. It's hard to describe.
It gives off such that 1960s vibe to it. I mean, it's gorgeous.
So this is kind of an obscure character, Human Target, Christopher Chance. You hire him if you're in danger, you hire him to go out and take risks for you. And in this book, he gets poisoned, and through superhero nonsense, all the suspects are from the JLI, the Justice League International, from the 80s, which is right there on Cliff's wavelength.
That's it, right there.
Guy Gardner, Martian Manhunter, Fire, Ice, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, all those characters. So yeah, it's like a murder mystery noir detective thing starring these 80s characters. So
sounds cool.
It's been excellent. They did Batman Long Halloween Special. Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale came back after 25 years after the original masterpiece and did this one-shot. It was kind of focused on Calendar Man, who just had a kind of a short little segment in the original.
Yeah,
so they came and did a one-shot. Marvel.
Was it good?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't essential, it wasn't a.
That's what I was. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, it's a. I love Tim Sale's art. I'll read anything he does. So. DC, they're currently doing Task Force.
He cried to me. Does not everyone remember that?
I have a vague memory.
That's a callback.
He did. He literally shed tears inside my comic book.
So Task Force Z by Matthew Rosenberg and Eddie Barrows. These are all the villains who were killed off when Arkham Asylum blew up last year. So they have been returned as zombies, and instead of Task Force X, now we have Task Force Z. So it's all these undead heroes, led by the Red Hood, who has experience coming back from the dead. So it's the government sending all these villains on tasks and promising they'll bring them back to life at some point. So it's kind of a horror twist on the Suicide Squad formula. Marvel, I think this book came out on New Year's Eve week. It was called Timeless. It was a one-shot, and it was all about Kang the Conqueror. And it was him looking backwards and forwards through time. And it was one of those kind of sly one-shots where they hint at what's coming up in the next year's worth of books. So it was, I wonder what's going to happen with this character and this character. And it ended with him looking into the future and seeing Miracle Man, the British character made famous by Alan Moore. So I don't know what that means. Marvel got the rights to him years ago and started reprinting all his original adventures, the Alan Moore run, and then it was followed up by a Neil Gaiman run, and then just never did anything else with the character. They promised they were going to continue and do something. So this has hinted Miracle Man's coming back in some form or fashion, but
maybe I'll ask Neil at my evening with Neil Gaiman.
Please
in a couple months.
Because he never finished his run. It is left undone. It was never.
I'll bring it up. Finished. I'm bringing it up. I'm in the balcony, but he'll hear me.
And he'll explain it in such glorious
like a lullaby,
terms, and you'll fall asleep and never remember what he said. Marvel's also doing Devil's Reign at the moment, which I am enjoying. This is Mayor Mayor Wilson Fisk. Kingpin is elected mayor. All right, so he duly elected mayor of New York City, and he has ruled all superheroes illegal, so no more heroes around. But doesn't think he's going to win re-election. So if you think there's like a villain who might tamper with elections,
I was just going to say,
strange
I know how
culture.
this ends.
I mean, just imagine it. You got to imagine it.
Yeah.
But
it's a fictitious world.
So he currently has the Purple Man, who is able to influence people to do his bidding. He cut off his finger and has embedded it in the head of his cane. So Kingpin's walking around and has this low-level ability to sort of influence
Right, yeah.
people. So he's going to try to win this election by messing with the minds of New York. But there's something digging in his brain.
Is that how that works? All your powers in your finger?
In
you're
his,
the Purple
I
Man?
guess so. If you're the Purple Man, it's
Wow.
a little purple finger. But so when Daredevil, his identity had been revealed to the world, all right, and it got put back in the bottle.
Uh-huh.
But Wilson Fisk has been eating at him for years. He knew who Daredevil was, and now he can't remember.
Right.
And he has files on all these heroes, and he has all this information.
Full of fingers.
Right. So he opens a file folder, and he can't read it. He knows there's something. He's like, something is wrong with my head. So he uses the Purple Man's powers to clear his own head. And he realizes it's Matt Murdock. And he's like, and in this moment, I'm born again. It's like, holy cow, we're going back to born again. So Kingpin knows Daredevil's Matt Murdock, and stuff's about to go down. So
that's pretty exciting. Who's writing that?
That is Chip Zdarsky.
Oh, I like him.
And Marco Cecchetto, who's been doing the Daredevil run for the last couple of years.
I was listening to Jesse Starcher talk about some Zdarsky Daredevil on the Source Material podcast last month. So.
Yeah, it's excellent. And we just had the start of Reckoning War from the Fantastic Four. This has been, all right, Dan Slott is the writer of this one, and he has literally been hinting at this for 15 years. When he was writing She-Hulk in the early 2000s, he hinted at the Reckoning War.
Right.
And he's planted seeds and all the certain things he's worked on over the years, and he's finally writing Fantastic Four, and he's finally doing it. It goes all the way back to the origin of the Watchers and the tragedy that happened when they decided they can't act anymore. They're just going to chronicle the universe. Uh-huh. So it's these ancient galactic beings. And again, something's about to go down on a cosmic scale, Fantastic Four. So there's very few other media where you can you can plant seeds for a story for literally decades and then have it eventually pay off.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
And we have 4-issue Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer. So in the tradition of like Old Man Logan or one of those, this is set 50 years after Buffy first became the Slayer. So it's sort of all her friends are either dead or have abandoned her. Vampires are way too comfortable in the world, and it's been pretty solid as well. So that's a fun kind of
Linda
standalone.
Hamilton type shape, or is she old and decrepit? What's the what?
She's in good shape. She meets Spike again. He looks exactly the same because he's a vampire. So she's like, you don't want to hang out with my ugly old self.
Right. That's neat.
And finally, we concluded local author James Patrick's Campese, the Dragon Incident from Aftershock. So he followed up his kaiju score that was monsters and mobsters. We have a similar thing here. So it's like a small town hood. Right, so James grew up in Youngstown, where there's a very notorious history of mob involvement. And he said he knew some people who had ties to things, or at least knew family members or had history of that stuff. So he's pretty familiar with a small town, how things work, of who gets paid and all that stuff. So it's that idea. So there's a mob fixer, and then a dragon shows up in this town, and you got to fix this. It's hurting business. So it's another kind of genre mashup of fantasy and crime noir. Mm-hmm. So pretty fun deal. And they announced the sequel to Kaiju Score coming up pretty soon. So James has had a lot of success at Aftershock. These are just mini series, so they'll all be collected in trade paperback. So definitely worth to read there as well.
Yeah, I saw that announcement of that sequel this week. Cool stuff. I want to see a sequel to Death Comes to Dillinger. Let's get some of that going again. I like that. My last comic thing is I finally got an Omni that I was having trouble getting long out of print. It was right in the middle of a run. It was really bugging me. I finally did not get outbid and got it for less than I it had been going for was the West Coast Avengers Volume 2. It's incredibly hard to get, but I finally have it. So now I just need like a couple random issues late in the series and maybe a Force Works trade to finish the whole thing.
Oh, you'll be the only one bidding on the Force Works trade.
yeah. But now I can finally start and reread that run there. Got all 3 Omnis and some trades to get to all the way through that entire series. So
that's another one people have a lot of nostalgia for.
I definitely do. When that 4-issue Hawkeye miniseries came out, I mean, that is right in the sweet spot there. And then right after it was the West Coast Avengers, and just love it. And it was such a hit that they just rolled it right into the whole series. So excited to reread that. I'm sure I never read the whole thing back in the day, So now I've got it. That brings me joy. So
that's what comic books are for.
Right. We did it.
All right, I think that does it. And stay tuned. We might have some more comic stuff coming up pretty soon. Might even be doing a top 10 list if you're lucky.
I've been pushing for this list for a long time. Behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, everywhere, random texts. I'll say, ooh, I'd like to make a joke here. But I'm saving that for 10 years from now when we finally do this list. I've just been wanting to do it forever.
Well, we were always hampered by not being able to do it visually.
Yeah.
And then came Zoom, the miracle of Zoom.
Still, years later, cannot get people to do it.
Oh, well.
We'll do it. So look forward to that project. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
Always more to come from your friends at Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast. We will see you shortly. My name is Takamine-san.
Seth, sayonara football.
Takamine.
Forever.
I'm gonna go back in time an hour and come up with some better fake names because you guys always sniff those out.
Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, join our Patreon at patreon.com/udownwithkpp for special content and access to Patreon-only benefits. We are grateful for anyone who chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will remain free. So please continue to like, comment, and share.